The Long Winter by Laura Ingalls Wilder. Chapter 14. One Bright Day. That blizzard lasted only 2 days. Tuesday morning, Laura woke up suddenly. She lay with her eyes wide open, listening to hear again what had wakened her. There was no sound at all. Then she knew the stillness had startled her awake. There was no noise of wind, no swoosh, 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 the ice, snow scurrying the walls and the roof and the window. The sun was glowing bright through the forest, through the frost, on the windows and on the top of the stairs, and downstairs Ma was smiling like sunshine. The blizzard's over, she said. It was only 2 days of blizzard. You never can tell what a blizzard will do, Pa agreed. It may have been that your hard winter won't prove to be so hard after all, Ma said happily. Now the sun was shining. They should have the trains running again in no time, said Laura. And there will be school today. Better get yourself ready, for I will get breakfast. Laura went upstairs to tell Carrie and to put on her school dress. In the warm kitchen again, she scrubbed her face and neck well with soap and pinned up her braids. Pa breezed in gaily from doing chores. It is a bright and shining morning, he told them. Looks like his face was well washed in snow. Hashed brown potatoes were on the table, and Ma's wild ground cherry preserves shone golden in a glass bowl. Ma stacked a platter with buttered toast browned from the oven, and a small dish of butter. I had to warm the butter, she said. It was frozen to a hard rock. I could not cut it. I hope Mr. Boast brings us some more soon. This is what the cobbler threw at his wife. Grace and Carrie were puzzled while the others laughed. It showed how happy Ma was that she would make jokes. That was his all, Mary said, and Laura exclaimed, "Oh no, it was the last. That was all he had. Girls, girls," Ma said gently, because they were laughing too much at the table. Then Laura said, "But I thought we were out of butter when we didn't have any yesterday." "Pancakes were good with salt pork," said Ma. "I saved the butter for toast." There was just enough butter for a scraping on every slice. Breakfast was so merry in the warmth and stillness, the light of the clock that striking 8:30 before they had even finished, and Ma said, "Run along, girls. This one time I'll do your housework." The whole outdoors was dazzling, sparkling bright. At the length of Main Street there was a high drift of snow, a ridge taller than Laura. She and Carrie had to climb it to its top and get carefully down its other side. The snow was packed so hard that their shoes made no marks on it, and their heels could dig in no dents to keep them from slipping. In the schoolyard was another glistening drift, almost as high as the schoolhouse. Cap Garland and Ben and Arthur and the little Withmarth brothers were skating down it on their shoes, as Laura used to slide down Silver Lake, and Mary Power and Minnie were standing out in the cold sunshine by the door watching the fun the boys were having. "Hello, Laura," Mary said gladly, and she tucked her mittens and her hands under Laura's arm and squeezed it. They were pleased to see each other again. It had been so long, the time since Friday, and even since the Saturday afternoon that they had meant to spend together. But there was no time to talk, for teacher came to the door, and the girls and boys must go in to do their lessons. At recess, Mary and Laura and Minnie stood at the window and watched the boys slide down the snowdrift. Laura wished she could go outdoors and play too. "I wish we weren't too big for that now," she said. "I don't think it's any fun being a young lady." "Well, we can't help but grow up," said Mary. "What would you do if you were caught in a blizzard, Mary?" Minnie was asking. "I guess I would just keep on walking." "You wouldn't freeze if you kept on walking," Mary answered. "But you'd tire yourself out. You'd get so tired you'd die," said Minnie. "Well, what would you do?" Mary asked her. "I'd dig into a small bank and let the snow cover me up." "I don't think you'd freeze to death in a snowbank, would you, Laura?" "I don't know," Laura said. "Well, what would you do, Laura, if you were caught in a blizzard?" "I wouldn't get caught," Laura answered. She did not like to think about it. She would rather talk to Mary about other things. But Miss Garland rang the bell, and the boys came trooping in, red with the cold and grinning. That whole day long, everyone was cheerful as the sunshine. At noon, Laura and Mary and Carrie, with the Beasley girls, raced to in the shouted crowds over a big snowdrift home to dinner. On top of the high drift that was Main Street, some went north and some south. Laura and Carrie slid down its east side to their own front door. Paul was already in his place at the table. Mary was lifting Grace into the pile of books on her chair, and Ma was setting the dish of steaming baked potatoes before Pa. "I do wish we had some butter for them," she said. "Salt brings out the flavor," Pa was saying, when the loud knock sounded on the kitchen door. Carrie ran to open it, and a big furry as a bear in a buffalo coat, Mr. Boast, came in. "Come in, Boast, come in," Pa kept saying. They were glad to see him. "Come in and put your feet under the table. You're just in time." "Where's Mrs. Boast?" Mary inquired. "She didn't come with me." Mr. Boast was getting out of his wraps. "Well, no, you see, Ellie thought she must be doing the washing while the sun shines. I told her we'll have more good days, but she said she'd come to town on one of them. She sent you some butter from the last of our churning. My cows are going dry, the weather we've been having, and they just couldn't take it." Mr. Boast sat up at the table, and they all began on their baked potatoes with butter after all. "Glad to know you came through the storm all right." "Yes, we were lucky. I was watering the stock at the well when the cloud came up, and I hurried them in, had them all snug in the stable, and got halfway to the house before the storm struck," Mr. Boast said. The baked potatoes and hot biscuits with butter were delicious, and to finish the dinner there was more biscuits with some of Ma's rich tomato preserves. "There's no more salt pork in town," Pa said. "Getting all of our supplies from the east this way, we run a little short when the trains don't get through." "What do you hear about the trains?" Boast asked. "They've put on extra gangs to work on the cut in Tracy, and they're bringing out snowplows. We can look for a train before the end of the week. Ellie's counting on getting some tea and sugar and flour. The storekeepers keep raising prices. Nothing's running short but meat." Dinner was eaten, and Mr. Boast said he must get along and reach home before night. He promised to bring Mrs. Boast to see them all one day soon. Then he and Pa went up Main Street to Hawthorne's grocery, and Laura and Carrie, hand in hand, went joyously, climbing up the drifts, sliding down them, and back to school. All that happy afternoon they were full of a clear, cold air and the bright sunshine. They knew their lessons perfectly. They enjoyed reciting them. Every face in school was smiling, and Cap, flashing his grin, included with all of them. It was good to see the town alive again, and to know that again all the weekdays would be in school. But in the night, Laura dreamed that Pa was playing the Wild Storm tune on his fiddle when she screamed for him to stop. The tune was blinding blizzards swirling around her, and it had frozen her to a solid ice. Then she was staring at the dark, but for a long time that nightmare held her stiff and cold. It was not Pa's fiddle she heard, but a snowstorm itself, the swish, 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 so cold that the dream seemed half real. She snuggled closely to Mary and pulled the quilts over her. "What is it?" Mary muttered in her sleep. "A blizzard," Laura answered.